Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat room. Always good. Yes, all clear. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, welcome to the Dragon Prince Season 2 review live stream. I was going to do this as like a normal review like I did with Daredevil Season 3, but the first time I watched the season, I felt kind of lost for an opinion on it. I had to rewatch it and then go through like certain episodes a couple times before I could form an opinion on it. And even at that point, I didn't think I could fit my thoughts into a normal review type of structure. I thought this might work better. So here we are. And first, I guess I should just thank everyone for showing up, and thank you for subscribing if you're new to the channel. I passed 12,000 subscribers recently, so that's pretty cool. And let's see. And did that notice go up on Twitter? Yes, it did. All right, cool. So if you have anything you want to say or ask about Season 2, go ahead and put it in the chat room. I'm going to go through the season, and there will be spoilers here. I'm going to spoil a bunch of stuff, so if you don't like spoilers, there's your warning. Always try to put up a notice before if there's going to be spoilers, but this will not be a spoiler-free review. Anywho, let's just minimize this, and okay. All right, let's go. All right, so all right, the Dragon Prince Season 2. Short version, it's good, but it has a few issues. The writers took a different approach with this season, and there were pluses and minuses to that. Whereas Season 1 had been very story-driven, Season 2 is very character-driven. And it's more concerned with getting introspective and doing a lot of navel gazing and exploring various characters more deeply than in advancing the plot. The result being, the result being that the characters get fleshed out, but the narrative really slows down, almost to the point that it got frustrating. They couldn't seem to find the right balance of plot and character advancement, and the pacing suffered for it. Season 1 wasn't exactly a race against time, but there was a sense of urgency about it. Like, we need to get the Dragon Prince to Zadia ASAP before a full-blown war breaks out. And that's still a thing, but it gets strangely dialed back at times here. Excuse me. We see Sunfire Elves gathering at the border, and they fight with the human forces there. Dragons flying over human villages. Tensions are continuing to rise in that sense. There's still a war coming, But then we cut back to Callum, Rayla, and Ezrin just relaxing at the Moon Nexus. Like, can't we stay a few more days? Like, I want to learn some moon magic, and Zim needs to learn how to fly and stuff. Let's just chill out for a little while. I mean, weren't they in kind of a rush last season? I mean, I thought getting the Dragon Prince to Zadia was really important, and they needed to do that sooner than later. I mean, Moon Shadow Elves just carried out an assassination attempt on your kingdom 2 weeks ago. All-out war is brewing even as we speak. You've got the key to stopping it, and here you are just sitting around doing nothing. It was very strange. I didn't understand that part. So the only thing that made sense to me was that the writers needed them to stay in one place long enough for Soren and Claudia to catch up with them, but they didn't have a compelling reason not to leave. So it was very awkward. And there were a bunch of things like that, actually, things that affected the pacing in strange ways. Things that you thought would take a while to happen happened really quickly, and things that you wish would have happened faster took a long time to go anywhere. Like, for example, they pulled the trigger on Soren and Claudia catching up in the first episode. They fight for a minute, and then they all just hang around the Moon Nexus for, I think, like 2 episodes. They fight again, and now they're basically enemies. That all happened really quickly, and then slowly, and then quickly again. Not only that, but Soren and Claudia seem to catch up to them really easily, even though Rayla, Callum, and Ezrin put a lot of distance between them by riding on that Moon Phoenix thing for a while, and then taking a boat across the Great Lake or whatever the hell it was. And yet Soren and Claudia keep catching up to them, no problem. I don't know how that keeps happening. And then there's the Erebos thing. It was interesting. Viren figures out how to get the mirror to work, and there's Erebos on the other side of it. It's interesting, but it also took a long time to get moving. Like, there came a point where I said to myself, nothing is really going to happen here until the end of the season. And it didn't. And it was annoying. Okay, and then you've got Rayla, Callum, and Ezrin on a boat for like 3 episodes, I think. And that felt pretty meandering, actually. Now, but to the writers' credit, they did use this slower pace to explore the characters more. Callum is trying to figure out how to connect to the Sky Arcanum, and he's finding hints that kind of point him in the right direction, and and that's good character growth. But the narrative is getting slowed down a lot in the process. Soren and Claudia get fleshed out a lot, actually. So they are exploring a lot of character stuff here. I really liked how they're both kind of walking that fine line of moral ambiguity. I wasn't sure which way they were going to go with those two after the season was over. I mean, during the season, and after the season, I still wasn't. Claudia seems to be leaning toward the dark side a little bit more than Soren is, but you can't really be certain. Soren is quick to try to kill a dragon that hasn't technically done anything wrong, but then he frees their prisoner Corvus so he can help get people to safety. So he does genuinely care about helping people. He's just kind of misguided in his methods and his viewpoints on things. And he seems willing to force himself to kill the princes, or at least try to please his father. But then he's almost relieved when he gets paralyzed and he won't be able to do it. Now, Claudia, on the other hand, takes a weird kind of joy in killing things to fuel her dark magic. But she's pretty quick to abandon the mission that their father gave her to help Soren when he gets hurt, even though their dad told her to choose the egg over her brother. Also, she does seem to genuinely like Callum, which is surprising. And also, she tricks Ezrin to help her find some deer to kill so she can power her healing spell, and she helps her brother, but in the process seems to take a step toward the dark side. There's a lot of good character work with those two. But again, in the process, the narrative suffers. When Soren went down, I just figured Claudia would heal him with magic. That's the first thing I thought of. and she does, but there's a whole episode before she does that where they're just talking about stuff. And again, good character work, but you also get the impression that the narrative is just kind of stalling. And then Soren's healed, and they're like, well, mission's a bust. I guess we're going home. Wait, what? Wait, what? Why? Okay, Soren's banged up, but Claudia's fine. She can still go after the princes. You just talked to them a few minutes ago. Callum's unconscious right now. They couldn't have gotten far. Why are you stopping now? You know, why aren't you going after them again? It didn't make sense to me. So if you're watching for the characters this season, you'll probably like season 2. If you wanted more story, if you wanted more advancement in that area, you were probably frustrated by what you saw here. Season 2 feels like a lot of setup and not a lot of payoff. And just when things finally get really interesting, suddenly it's over. And there is a sense of the writers being very selective in the time scale of things. Like why does it take Rayla and Callum 2 full seasons, which probably take place over something like a month, to get to the Zadian border, when Aunt Amaya got from the border to the castle in like 2 days in season 1? You know, characters seem to be able to get from point A to point B really quickly, except when they don't, just because the story hasn't caught up with them yet. You know, they're playing fast and loose with how long it takes to travel from one place to another. It doesn't kill the show or anything, but you have to take it with a grain of salt. But the character stuff is really good for the most part. For the most part, with a couple exceptions. Ezrin's reaction to learning that his dad was dead was strangely muted. Like he took that way better than I expected him to. You know, considering he's always seemed to avoid uncomfortable emotions like that. You saw several examples of that in the first season. Like if somebody confronts him with, oh, they're coming to kill him, or something like that, and Ezrin just kind of nopes out and just doesn't want to confront it, doesn't want to deal with that. You know, he was always kind of avoiding stuff like that. And here, I thought that was going to hit him really hard, and it didn't. You know, he cries once or twice, but in between those scenes, he seemed pretty okay. He was almost cheerful at times. You know, in between your crying jags, which is a very odd choice. It almost felt wrong to me. Also, Soren's reaction to being rendered a quadriplegic is weird. You'd expect that to be a pretty heavy thing. I mean, God knows it would be heavy for anybody else going through that situation, but he gets one scene where he cries a little, and then in the next scene, they're playing it for comedy. Like, nah, it's all good. I'm going to be a poet now, Claudia. Listen to my silly poem. It's funny. It's pretty funny, isn't it? Yeah. Wow, that didn't work for me. This is a really serious thing. He's never going to move his body again. Why are you trying to milk this for laughs? You know, that just, I don't know. Yeah, but the humor in this show has always been a little awkward. I don't know. You wouldn't have I wouldn't have expected that from the head writer of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I don't know. Something's getting lost in the translation for me. Oh, and Gren. Also, Gren. Speaking of weird comedy, Gren has been chained up in Viren's dungeon for weeks. Why is he so freaking cheerful? Get angry, damn it. It's okay. No one's going to blame you. I mean, it's funny for a little bit, but eventually you just feel like this is not how a normal person would react to something like this. You know, I like that they threw in that even Viren was weirded out by it, but Jesus, but damn it, dude. It's okay to get angry about your situation. We're crying out loud. Okay, and then there's Rayla. All right. It looks like Rayla and Callum are going to be a thing in the future. That's fine. It makes sense. Yeah, there are a bunch of subtle hints of it throughout the season. Callum likes Claudia, and Rayla gets annoyed by this. They're hugging a lot more. He draws her in one scene in the sketchbook when he's worried about her. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be a thing. But in the finale, when Callum is having that crazy dream and he's not breathing, and they tease Rayla giving the "I love you" confession before he wakes up, it felt too soon. I mean, they've known each other for what, a couple weeks, a month? I think they said at one point that it had only been 2 weeks. So season 1 took place over 2 weeks. So it's probably been about a month since they've known each other. Now, I believe that he's become important to her in that time, but it felt like they had, but for an "I love you" confession, almost giving one of those, it felt like they hadn't earned that yet. But I'm cool with it happening in the future. Now that they're on the quest alone together, season 3 is going to stoke that fire a lot more, I'm sure. Just hold off on the "I love yous" until they've known each other for more than a couple weeks, please. So, yeah, the character work is generally good, not quite perfect though. Callum, Soren, and Claudia make out the best on that score. And Viren too. Even though the slow pacing did bug me at times, I did get, I got where Viren was coming from. I understood his frustration. Elves just, quote unquote, assassinated the king, even though his mind is probably in the body of the parakeet now. But his physical body is dead. So for all intents and purposes, the king is dead. He can't get the other kingdoms to do anything about it. He can't get them to agree on a course of action here. And now the king's other advisors are out for him. They want to take him down. So he's got his back against the wall, got no other options. Then here's Erebos, obviously manipulating him. And Viren either doesn't see it or figures he's got no other choice because he's desperate. And now Erebos has got him. He's got him by the balls. Doesn't matter if Viren knows he's being used because he needs Erebos now. That's his only potential way out of this situation is to take this guy's help. Even if the more he does it, the more hold over him Erebos is going to have. I really liked Erebos a lot. I just wanted to see more of him. And that's about it for the characters, I think. They fixed the frame rate issues from season 1, so the action is a lot smoother now, even if there wasn't as much action as last time. So I guess the narrative and the action take a bit of a backseat in season 2, so they can focus more on the characters. And this does get a little frustrating because of the way it affects the pacing. But they do set up a lot of interesting things. They set up a lot of bowling pins here. We just don't get to see them knock many of them down, and that's the rub. For season 3, I just want to see them try to find a better balance of narrative flow and character development. That should fix most of these issues. Otherwise, there was a lot of good stuff here. I really enjoyed season 2 despite my gripes with it. It just sucks that we might not get season 3 for another 6 months or longer. Assuming it gets renewed. I don't know why it wouldn't, but we haven't gotten that announcement yet, so you never know. Also, if I could just add one little nitpick, something that's been bugging me about this. There was a controversial killing of 2 background characters. If you saw the season, you know what I'm talking about. I said there'd be spoilers here, so spoiler alert. 2 gay characters get killed. I haven't seen any outrage about this online. People seem to be giving them a free pass on this, which is strange to me because when Voltron killed a gay character last summer, people were so up in arms about this. They were claiming queer baiting and all this other stuff. They were just saying, "Oh, this is the worst show ever," and it was a slap in the face and blah blah blah. Although they killed off their queer representation, even though Shiro is still very much alive. And also Azor and Zethrid are still very much alive. But here we have the first confirmed gay characters, 2 of them in fact, on this show, and they get killed in after 2 episodes. And I haven't seen any outrage over this. This is what's called a double standard. Why is it okay for one? Why is it one show can get away with this, but another one can't? Double standards everywhere in fandoms. I don't know why. Sorry, I got my tea here, so my voice will hold out longer. Okay, so now I go to the chat room. If there's anything you guys want to ask about season 2 or just ask in general, go ahead. Okay, Dave Gorman really wants to be a mod. I haven't thought I needed a mod up until now, but I will consider that. Let's see. Terms like Moon Shadow Elves or Moon Nexus, the terms in this show sound ridiculous. I think they've been pretty cool. They've been all right so far. I think that they may get a little more ridiculous as we get more of them. Like, I think the Star Erebos' race is called Star-Touched Elves. I think that's a little silly. We don't know what the other elves are called yet, but Star-Touched, that's a little ridiculous. I don't know. I like the Moon Shadow Elves and Sunforge. I like those names though. Let's see. Dave Gorman, do you think Captain Marvel is going to be worth seeing when it comes out in just a few weeks before Avengers Endgame? Seems like Captain Marvel is going to be a throwaway movie. Wow. That is a loaded question, buddy. Do I think it'll be worth seeing? Well, having not seen it, I can't be sure. I'll tell you, I am curious about it. I mean, so much has been said about it, and it's definitely become a Ghostbusters 2016 situation where there's so many politics on display, and the marketing campaign is so ill-conceived, and they're bringing feminism, activism into the mix, and excuse me, Brie Larson has really done this movie no favors with the way she's been promoting it, saying that she doesn't want white men interviewing her, and while still preaching about equality and blah blah blah. That's not how equality works, Brie Larson. Your mindset is askew, I think. So marketing wise, they're doing the wrong things. The cast, or at least Brie Larson, is not behaving in a way that is enticing for viewers. Is not behaving in a way that makes people, or at least makes white males want to see the movie. White males who probably make up the majority of the MCU's fan base. So in a lot of ways, they have not done this movie any favors, and have probably heard it just going by box office projections for opening weekend. It used to be close to like 200 million, and now I think they're around 100 million or 80 million, something like that. So those projections keep dropping. So what they're doing is not working, and that they haven't course corrected. And the trailers haven't looked all that interesting. I thought they've looked downright uninspired. I've seen some TV spots that look better, but so far it just doesn't look. It's just not looking promising. However, I am curious. Because Marvel, they haven't struck out yet. None of the Marvel movies have been bad. There have been some that have been weaker than others, but there hasn't been any of them that have been outright bad, in my opinion. So will this be the first one? I'm interested to see it, just to see if this is the first time that they swing and miss. Also, I want to see how it ties into Avengers Endgame, although that's pretty much the only reason I want to see it at this point. I'm going to see it to review it. If I were not reviewing it, I wouldn't even want to see it based on the way that they've been promoting it. And because Brie Larson has just really, really turned me off this project. I said previously in an earlier video that if she leaves the politics at home, I got no problem with Brie Larson. But she can't seem to leave the politics at home. She just wants to politicize everything, inserting her activism and her gender politics into everything. And can one of the reasons Wonder Woman worked is because they didn't do that. They just made a good movie. But it just seems like Marvel is politicizing this project way too much, and I don't know why. Because Kevin Feige is usually smarter than this. But maybe he's focused on the Oscar campaign and trying to. I don't know. Maybe he's got the stars in his eyes because the Oscars are coming up, and Black Panther is nominated for Best Picture, and he's focused too much on that he's not seeing what's going on around him with this movie. But I don't know. Could it be just a completely ill-conceived marketing campaign? Sure. Could it be a good movie? Sure. Right now, it's not looking like one. I will see the movie though. If it's a good movie, I'll say it's a good movie. If it's a bad movie, I'll say it's a bad movie. I'm going in with no expectations. And I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm open to being proven wrong. Let's see. And do you watch Big Mouth? I don't know what that is. Is that a channel on here? If it is, I haven't seen it. Let's see. She was obviously scared, and she may have been freaking out and thinking things. Yeah, no. Referring to Rayla, I'm assuming. Yeah, I get that. And like I said, I can buy that Callum has become important to her because they have been through a lot of stuff together in a relatively short time. To me, it felt like not enough time had passed to get them to that place emotionally. Even if she was freaking out, it's just I'm like, guys, you haven't. We're not there yet. Okay, if she likes him, cool. If she feels like something that she doesn't really understand, okay, fine. But and I love you. I don't know. Felt like they hadn't earned that one. And okay. Well, the stupid. And this chat room is so messed up. They let a bunch of comments build up and then post them all at once. Oy. Erebus and Viren stole the show. I would say Erebus stole the show. Definitely. That was the most intriguing thing about season 2 for me, I think. Is what's going on with Erebos, because we don't really get any answers. We know that Runan thought that whatever the mirror was a fate worse than death. And then there's Erebos. So I don't think Erebos is a good guy. And now here's Viren's he's not getting it. His curiosity got the best of him. So he's letting Erebos get his hooks into him, and that can't mean good things for Viren. Let's see. Did Hulu get the Marvel Netflix shows? I don't know. I know that Jeff Loeb, who runs Marvel Television, he put up a message saying, the kind of hinting that the Netflix shows might find a new home. And I believe Disney does own a controlling stake in Hulu now. So they could wind up on Hulu. Runaways is on there. So that would make sense. And I would really love it if Daredevil came back. So we don't know yet, but we don't know if the shows are dead quite yet, I guess is what Jeff Loeb is telling us. Let's see. Voltron and the Dragon Prince have different fandoms, different kinds of people. Yeah, no kidding. As much as I love Voltron, that fandom became a kind of an ugly place to be in. But a lot of those fans migrated over to the Dragon Prince. It's just I don't know. Double standards piss me off. It just feels, why is one show getting away with this, but the other one didn't? You know, I can't. I don't have an answer to that, and it bothers me. Let's see. Duke Nukem 3DO. What's your thoughts on the recent Impact regime compared to the past ones? This is a pro wrestling question, kind of migrating over from my old other channel. I think they've got their heads screwed on straight, but they don't seem to know what they have to do to reverse, to get the momentum flowing in a positive direction. And they seem to be split on what the company's identity is. You know, if you look at some of the stuff they're doing right now on the show, it's like half Ring of Honor light and half Lucha Underground light. And what I don't see is Impact Wrestling, and that's the problem. It's like, what is this company trying to be? You know, parts of it are seem like they're trying to ground it in reality, and then you've got all this Undead Realm stuff, which I don't know how these two fit together on the same show. They really shouldn't. Honestly, I think the Undead Realm stuff is really freaking stupid. Honestly, it's just way too cartoonish, and I don't see how that's meant to attract attention, and I don't even know if they can attract attention because they're on a terrible time slot on a obscure cable network on probably one of the worst nights for wrestling of the whole week. They're stuck in a deep hole, and I don't know how they can get out of it. And worse, they don't seem to know how to get out of it. And I don't see them. They don't seem to be trying anything different in order to try to get out of it. They're just doing what they've been doing for a little while now, but that's not working. So I don't know why they're not trying different things. You know, it's frustrating. Let's see. Obviously, Rayla and Callum felt rushed, but do you think because Callum was like dying, Rayla got scared and just freaked out, and that's why she said that? Like she doesn't really love him fully yet. Yeah, I think that's the case. I wish that had been scripted differently, because it was definitely them teasing and I love you, and they could express the same thing without using those lines. Like obviously they know what people. She didn't say it, but it's clear what she was meant to say, and I think you could have gotten over how scared she was of losing him without doing that, without teasing the line that they haven't really earned organically yet. Just if I had been scripting that out, I would have worded it differently. That's all. Have you watched any episodes of the live-action Teen Titans show? No, I haven't. I'm pretty loyal to my streaming service of choice, so I'm happy with Netflix right now. Also, I'm trying to save money and limit my expenses, so I don't really want to pay for another streaming service. And there's I don't know how many of them there are right now. There's Netflix, there's Hulu, Amazon Prime, there's Disney Plus, CBS All Access. Everyone's got a streaming service right now, and they all cost money. And right now, my mindset is if I don't really need it, then I can live without it. Netflix is really my only luxury until I can start making more money. So I'm trying to be trying not to be financially irresponsible right now. Although, I mean, if money was not an issue, I would. I probably would sign up for more services, because I would like to. There are shows on all these other streaming platforms that I would like to watch. I still haven't checked out Runaways, so I'd like to see that. Yeah, Amazon Prime picked up The Expanse. Great show if you haven't seen it. So I'd like to see that. Also, they have The Tick, which I found, which I have watched. I found another website to watch it via other means, so I haven't paid for it. But I do love the new incarnation of The Tick. And then there's Disney Plus. I have seen the Young Justice Outsiders again, watching that via other means. But then there's a new Titans. I heard it wasn't as bad as the trailers made it look. So that's encouraging. But I have not seen it yet. All right. My thoughts on why people are not complaining about the gay characters' deaths is that the audience knew they were dead before they knew they were gay. All right. Okay. So I guess they kind of eased them into that one. Yeah, all right. I could see that. Just I think I don't know. I've gotten used to fandoms being much more reactionary than that, and just flying off the handle at the slightest provocation. So it just surprised me that they didn't do so in this sense, in this case. Let's see. Early reactions to Captain Marvel have all been positive, and it's outpacing Wonder Woman. Oh yeah, I heard about that, and I'm not buying into it yet. And this is the shill media out in full force, because everyone's sucking up to Disney because it's because of the politics involved and because they don't want to piss off Disney, because Disney is not far off from pretty much owning Hollywood. They're buying up everything. They've got most of the biggest franchises. They've got Star Wars. They've got Marvel. They're buying Fox, so they're going to have all those IPs too. And so Disney is kind of they kind of want to rule the world in show business, and they're not far off from doing it. So if you piss them off, you're going to get cut out of a lot of stuff. So I have seen the early reactions. I find it interesting that most of them are kind of saying the same stuff. Goose the Cat is awesome. Ben Mendelsohn is great. Lashana Lynch is great. Not a lot of people talking about Brie Larson and the acting job that she does. They're just kind of avoiding talking about Brie Larson and saying, "Oh, all these other things are great." Sam Jackson is awesome. And Goose the Cat, give Goose the Cat his own spin-off show, his own spin-off movie, But not a lot of people talking about Brie Larson. They don't say she's bad. They just avoid the subject. I found that very interesting. So I think it's the shill media at work here, and I don't trust these reactions. I'm going to wait for a critic I actually do trust, who's not trying to get in goods with Disney, like Chris Stuckman. If Chris Stuckman gives the movie a bad review, I'll believe that. If he gives it a good review, I'll believe that. Or Angry Joe or somebody like that. Somebody on here that's not trying to kiss Disney's ass. But these early reactions, they're not unbiased. You saw the same thing with Ghostbusters 2016. I remember there was one review saying, "Oh, the movie is awesome. Women are funny. Deal with it," and then the movie comes out and it's fucking terrible. So you can't trust early screeners like this, because they're almost never unbiased. So I'm going in with no expectations, one way or the other, until I hear from a critic I actually trust. Let's see. Are you going to do a review of all the Supergirl episodes, or just finish season 1? I'm going to play that one by ear. I always assumed that I would just keep going with Supergirl until I got bored with it. I'm not bored with it yet. I'm having fun roasting it. The only issue is that those videos get content claimed really quickly, so I'm not going to make a lot of money off those from ad revenue. As I continue to do them, I figure I might make them like a Patreon exclusive in the future. I don't have a Patreon page yet, but I think if and when I do start one, that would make a good Patreon exclusive reward. So maybe if you want to continue seeing those, you join like at the $5 level or whatever, because I'm not getting any ad revenue from those. Big Mouth is on Netflix. Oh, okay. What do you think of the Hulk Hogan movie? Oh, Lord. Yeah, so Netflix is making a Hulk Hogan biopic starring Chris Hemsworth. Oh, Chris Hemsworth, why would you do this to me? I have a lot of strong opinions about Hulk Hogan. None of them good. Look, I will begrudgingly respect what he did for the wrestling business and what he accomplished in the wrestling business, but I have very little respect for Hulk Hogan as a human being. I think he's a piece of garbage. I think he is selfish. He's an egomaniac. And if I never hear the man's name again, it'll be too soon. So I don't want to see this biopic. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know anything about it. I think Hulk Hogan's a piece of shit, quite frankly. And I wish I like Chris Hemsworth. I wish he wasn't doing the movie. Oh, God. Would you prefer if the show was darker and more mature, or do you prefer it as is? Referring to the Dragon Prince, I guess. I'm okay with it as is. I just wish they would, I don't know, take the maturity up like 1 or 2 notches, just to get rid of the weird humor that doesn't really work. Like when Soren's paralyzed and they play the poetry thing for laughs, and like, guys, the man's never going to move again. This is not the time to make jokes or try to milk laughs out of this. But I think they're just still trying to play to the kids watching. I understand that, but to me, it doesn't work. There are some things that just have to be played seriously. So I guess maybe darken it a little bit. Otherwise, I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with it as is. Just get rid of some of the goofy comedy. Excuse me. Erebos is the Avatar. Yeah, because he can master all 6 elements. So you can kind of guess where they're going with that. Callum's going to have to unlock all 6 arcanums, and maybe like the final episode will be some big magical showdown between them. So Erebos will get out of the mirror somehow, and he'll be like the ultimate big bad of the show. Are you going to check out All Elite Wrestling? Yeah. I mean, if they get that big TV deal. Yeah, of course. I love the Tick. Yeah, the Tick's awesome. Man, I love the Tick cartoon back in the day. But I've got the DVD, in the other room there. Man, that was a great show, wasn't it? And this new version on Amazon Prime, it's so good. It's so good. I fucking love it. Let's see. Disney Plus will have the MCU miniseries. Oh yeah, because they got to finish out the actors' contracts. So Loki's getting a miniseries, and Falcon and Winter Soldier are getting a miniseries. Ugh. These things feel really unnecessary, but the actors signed on for a certain number of projects, so we got to use them. The Mandalorian and the new season of the Clone Wars. I'm excited to see the new season of the Clone Wars just because I want to see how they finish that story. Because the Clone Wars was an awesome show, awesome show. I mean, I couldn't for the longest time I could not bring myself to watch Star Wars Rebels because I resented it so much because they knew they canceled Clone Wars to make way for Rebels. Now that they're bringing Clone Wars back, I can watch Rebels. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I love the Clone Wars. I'm excited for them to bring it back. Mandalorian, okay. I don't know, these live action Star Wars series feel, I don't know I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I don't know. I'm looking for, I guess I'm curious a little bit, but I don't know if I'm excited for them. It feels like we're getting a little too commercial with these now, and it's like is it almost getting to be too much? Like I saw an article somewhere that there was a rumor that they were going to do a Rose Tico series, as if anyone on God's green earth wants to see that, for fuck's sake. And also there's a Cassian Andor series they're working on now. Like, why? I mean, we kind of know how his story ends already, guys. Do you really need to see more? I mean, ultimately, you know he's going to get blown up with the rest of Rogue One. We kind of know what happens to him. Oy. Great to be a subscriber of yours. Awesome, honest opinions on those shows as well. Thank you very much for your support. Let's see, Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow. Which is less progressive? Less progressive? I would say Supergirl, probably. Just because they seem to take the most infantile or juvenile stance on I'd say feminism, but that doesn't really factor into the other shows. But well, feminism and just gender politics in general, gender roles in general. Just Supergirl thinks they're like trailblazing this new path for little girls and female viewers and whatnot. They're really not. They're just setting them back because the stance they take is just so ridiculous, and it's not nearly as progressive as they think it is. The Flash is just terrible. I'm sorry. The Flash is one of the worst shows on television. Then there's Arrow. I think Arrow still tries to be good. I think more often than not, they're probably failing at this point. But Arrow at least was a good show at one time. They've been largely hit and miss the last couple of years. But in terms of least progressive to more progressive, I'd say Supergirl and The Flash, then Arrow. So Supergirl is the least progressive, certainly. Are you going to see Fighting with My Family? Possibly. You know, when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson produces something, the results aren't always so hot. But I think it could be interesting. Although again, you kind of know how Paige's story ends. So you kind of know what's going to happen to her. I mean, it's weird to have a biopic about a woman still in her 20s. You know. Thoughts about the upcoming Netflix live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series? I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Not just cautiously, I'm enthusiastically optimistic about it. I would not feel that way if they didn't have the original creators on board, but they do. So I think there's every reason to believe that this might turn out pretty well. You know, they said the right things in interviews when they talked about it. So you're not going to get you're not going to get a pasty. You're probably not going to get a pasty white Katara and Sokka in a tribe full of Eskimos. you know, um, and maybe you'll have the Fire Nation as the right ethnicity. Uh, because Shyamalan made some weird choices with that movie. But yeah, I think there's every reason to be optimistic of that it'll turn out well, just because they have the original creators who have their heads screwed on straight, shepherding this whole thing. Would Eshra free Viren, or will he break himself out? Eshra? You mean Ezrin? Would Ezrin free Viren? I don't think so. If anything, I think Erebos will probably help Viren break himself out. Because Viren's pretty screwed right now. Because when those guards try to take him into custody, he straight up murdered like at least 3 of them. So he's going to be locked up, and apparently Erebos can wield magical power through Viren now. So I think my guess is Viren is going to have to throw his cards in with Erebos. So because he needs Erebos now, whether he likes it or not. So he's stuck with Erebos. Plus he's got that worm in his ear, so he's going to have Erebos' voice in his head 24/7. So I think Erebos is going to manipulate Viren into breaking himself out, taking the mirror, freeing him somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen, but yeah. Erebos has got his hooks in him, which does not mean good things for Viren. On the Cassian show, we all thought Maul was dead, and they brought him back. Did we? We all thought Maul was dead? Really? Really? Because, I knew Maul wasn't dead, because he came back in the Clone Wars, and he came back in Rebels. So I've known Maul was alive for quite a while. And plus, we never actually saw Maul die. We saw him get, cut in half, but we don't know. We don't know how durable his race is. Apparently, they're very durable because he survived that. That's not the case with Cassian. He blew up. He's a cloud of dust now. Him and Jyn Erso were vaporized. I'm not sure how you can survive something like that. Even Darth Maul probably would not survive something like that. He didn't just get blown up; he got vaporized. So bringing him back, I think, would be a pretty big jump in the shark moment. Which is better, Legend of Korra or the Dragon Prince? I think it's too soon to tell. We've only had 2 seasons of the Dragon Prince. I do really like Korra a lot, though. I actually prefer that to Avatar: Last Airbender, even though I do acknowledge that Last Airbender told a better story than Korra did. I just I just prefer Korra because I think they made it for a slightly more mature audience. It got a little darker, and they were telling more complex stories, more complex ideas with that show. Try to get a little bit more mature with it. I like that better. Dragon Prince, I think it takes more after The Last Airbender than it does with Korra. And so right now I'm going to say I prefer Korra, although Dragon Prince has every opportunity to eclipse it in the future. Let's see. They could clone Cassian. I guess they could, but it's going to be a prequel, so I don't see why they need to. Let's see. Avatar is better, but Korra is darker. No, I agree. Overall, I'd say Avatar: The Last Airbender is a better show, more cohesive show than Korra. I just prefer Korra because, for personal preference reasons. And I think that will about do it, unless we get any more questions in the chat room. I'll give it another minute or two, and then we can wrap this thing up. And then I can get back to that other video that I need to get moving on. Wanted to have more done on that. The one I'm working on now, I really wanted to have more done with that one. Yeah, I've got it all recorded, and I had to re-record parts because recording in this apartment's a friggin' nightmare. But I've only got 2 more months in it, fingers crossed. So the really hard part's done, at least. Do you watch anime? Yes, I do. I would like to cover anime at some point. Just, I haven't really gotten around to it. It hasn't felt like the right time yet. I do like anime a lot. I really love Ghost in the Shell. I have all the movies. I have Standalone Complex. I have the new series. Always been a big fan of Ghost in the Shell. Had some issues with the live action movie. Let's not go into that. Attack on Titan. Bubblegum Crisis. Love Bubblegum Crisis. It's one of my favorites. So I like a lot of anime. I'm not incredibly informed on it. I'm not hugely knowledgeable about it like someone like Bennett this Sage is, but yeah, I do enjoy it a lot. Let's see. Thoughts on Iron Fist? I think Iron Fist kind of got a bad rap. People just seem determined to hate it because of whitewashing, even though Iron Fist has always been a white guy in the comics. So those people didn't know what they were fucking talking about. I did not think it was as bad as people said. Was it perfect? No. Lord knows season 1 had some problems. Overall, I found myself enjoying it. I thought season 2 was a big step up. I thought the show was definitely improving, and I'm hoping that if the Marvel Netflix shows get resurrected on Hulu or Disney Plus or something, that maybe they'll bring those shows back, because I am curious. I would be curious to see how Iron Fist continues. I wouldn't mind seeing another season of that, honestly, because I thought season 2 was pretty interesting. I thought they definitely worked on the problems of the first season, and season 2 is a big step up. Let's see. Shows you will review in the future. Well, I don't know. The CW superhero shows seem to be what's getting me a lot of views right now. So I might expand into some of those other shows. Although, the content claiming is going to be a thing. So before I do that, I'm going to try to I'm going to try some different shows, maybe some different genres, to see if those last a little bit longer and rack up some more views before the copyright bots swoop in. Which is really unfortunate, because I work really hard to try to avoid copyright claims as much as possible. I use short clips, nothing over 10 minutes, nothing over 10 seconds, and I try to cut those down as short. I try to keep the clips as short as I can, and I feel like I'm within the realm of fair use, but YouTube doesn't really understand fair use. That's the problem. And did you watch Umbrella Academy? Now, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's really good, though. But I'm trying to. I don't want to get hooked on a new show right now, because I'm trying to limit my distractions as much as possible because I'm pretty easily distracted. Just my ADD personality, you know, it's one of my. It's a problem I'm constantly dealing with. I'm just easily distracted. So if it's a good show, I've heard it's a good show. I would like to check it out, but I'm not. I don't need to binge another series right now. I need to work on videos. How would you rank the Marvel Netflix series? You from best to worst, you mean? Well, Daredevil is the best. Second best, I guess, Jessica Jones. Third best, Punisher. And then Iron Fist, and then Luke Cage. Yeah. I think, yeah, Luke Cage is worse than Iron Fist. I said it, guys. Just my opinion. Don't crucify me. I enjoyed Iron Fist more than Luke Cage. Not saying Luke Cage wasn't, it didn't have its merits. But ultimately, I just found Luke Cage kind of boring. You know, it's fair use because you use it for criticism. Yeah. Yeah, you tell that to YouTube, though. I think the problem is if you try to dispute a claim and it ends up going not in your favor, they can penalize you for that. I think they can. I don't know. I'd have to refamiliarize myself with it. I think it's something like if you try to dispute a copyright claim and it doesn't go your way, they can take your channel down or something like that. So I'm trying to avoid any issues like that if I can. I haven't gotten any copyright strikes. I've gotten content claims, which doesn't hurt you, but you can't make money off the video at that point because any ad they put ads on it, and any ad revenue goes to the people who own the content, I guess. And you know, it's not a huge deal at this point because as long as I'm still getting the views, then the channel is still growing. But you know, eventually you kind of want to. Yeah, when your video gets a couple 100,000 views, you kind of want to make some money off of that, and you can't if they're content claimed. So that's why I think it's in my best interest to try to talk about some different shows, maybe with a different parent company that's a little less restrictive when it comes to reviewing stuff. Thoughts on the Defenders? Oh yeah, I forgot about the Defenders. You know what? I like the Defenders. Some people criticized it a lot. I'm not really sure why. I thought it was good. I thought be a little slow paced in the beginning. Took a little while for the characters to come together. I could have used a little more of them, working together. Maybe not taking 8 episodes to kind of bring everything together. But ultimately, I liked the Defenders. I thought it was kind of weird how the whole thing was about like getting their hands on like dragon bones and shit. But I liked the way it all tied together. I thought seeing the 4 heroes all in one place at the same time was pretty cool. I enjoyed the show. I wish we could get a second season of it. Damn. Like second season of Luke Cage more than second season of Jessica Jones. I have not seen the second season of Luke Cage yet. I kept meaning to get around to it, but now that the Netflix series are quote unquote canceled, at least for now, I find it hard to get to. I'm not motivated to go watch it now because I don't want to get attached to anything. I haven't seen season 2 of The Punisher yet either. I've heard that's really good, but I know there's no more of it after that unless they get picked up by Hulu or something. So it's like, well, I've so like inside in my mind, I've already kind of mentally divorced myself from these shows, and I almost don't want to go back and watch it because I'm going to get attached again. Runaways and Inhumans. What about Runaways and Inhumans? Well, I have not seen Runaways yet because it's on Hulu. I don't have Hulu. Maybe I could watch it on another website via other means, not related to Hulu. I could always do that. I'm sure it's online somewhere, where I wouldn't have to pay for Hulu. Inhumans was hot garbage. Yeah, pretty open and shut right there. Inhumans was bad. It's on Netflix. Netflix is what? Inhumans? I don't think Runaways is on there. Yeah, I watched the first episode of Inhumans, and that was enough. Wow, I don't know what happened there. I heard one theory that Ike Perlmutter deliberately tanked that project just to stick it to Kevin Feige because there were hard feelings over the split between the TV and movie studios. And you know what? I believe it because I don't know how a show that bad gets made by accident. Oh my God! One episode I could not watch anymore. I talked about this on my other channel. I said, you know what? I'll probably watch the rest of the season. What? It's seven more episodes? I can take that. I couldn't. I watched the pilot. That was enough. I had no interest in watching any further. Wow. Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Was and is a good show. First half of season 1 is rocky. After that, it gets really good. I think it's always been a good show. I think people, it's not as flashy as some of the other superhero shows out there, like the CW shows. Most of them are not well written at all, but they do spectacle very well. Like they can stage a really flashy and extravagant action sequence that titillates the eyes or whatever. It's kind of like dangling your keys in front of a baby to get it to stop. Screaming. You're just distracting it with something shiny. It's kind of like what the CW shows do. But they can stage good-looking action sequences, and I think that's something that S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of struggles with because S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of much more down to earth. And they're not bad at action, but it's not what you tune in for. S.H.I.E.L.D. is a well-written show though. Agent Carter. Less so. I liked Agent Carter season 1. I didn't love it, but I thought it was there was enough there that I'd keep watching. Season 2 wasn't so hot. There were a bunch of problems with season 2, and I thought the finale was terrible. And after that, I didn't feel the need to see any more. And I guess ABC agreed with me because they got canceled. Yeah, season 2 of Agent Carter was not good. It was very weak, and the finale sucked. Let's see. Why didn't they just give Inhumans to the S.H.I.E.L.D. showrunners? I will never know. Well, maybe they couldn't. In hindsight, they probably should have. I don't know if maybe they couldn't handle another show. Maybe one is enough for them. But I believe Jeff Bell was going to be in charge of the Bobby and Hunter spinoff that ABC didn't greenlight. So I guess they could have given it to him. That would have worked. Certainly would have been a better choice than Scott Buck. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. spent several seasons introducing the concept of the Inhumans. So a lot of the groundwork was already laid there. So Inhumans would have been a natural spin-off of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if you saw like the Inhumans pilot, it really wasn't a spin-off of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they didn't take really any elements from that show. They didn't even do like the Terrigenesis the same way. Like there was no Terrigenesis cocoon. exposed them to the mist, and then they came right out of it with powers. There was no cocoon. Why wasn't there a cocoon? I don't know. Why does Terrigenesis work differently here? I don't know. It's stupid. That's not the way it works in the comics either. They could have. It could have been a natural outcropping of Shield. They could have, if they were really serious about doing the spinoff well, they could have taken their time with it. Maybe introduced some of the characters in the cast over like a season of Shield, and then taken those characters and spun them off into their own show. But instead, they just started the Inhumans show, dropped us on the moon, and said, "Hey, there's a city on the moon, and it's full of Inhumans." No introduction, no explanation. And it was just an absolute abortion of a show. If there was any way for the Shield writing team to handle that, they really should have. But like I said, I would not be surprised at all if Ike Palmer deliberately tanked that entire project just to stick it to Kevin Feige. Have you seen the Fantastic Beasts movies? I have. The first one was interesting. Second one was kind of a mess. Honestly, if you're looking for a Harry Potter fix, just reread the books. Even the Harry Potter movies have a lot of problems with them. Now the Fantastic Beasts, they've not gone from strength to strength. I think the upshot is that J.K. Rowling is a better novelist than she is a screenwriter. They probably ought to get a more experienced screenwriter to just take like an outline from J.K. Rowling and give it to a screenwriter who knows what he's doing, because I'm not sure J.K. Rowling knows how to. I think it's not what she's best at, basically. Is the Arrowverse worse than the DCEU? No. I think it's probably more coordinated than the DCEU, because at least they're able to set up spin-off shows competently. They're able to do crossovers competently, at least in a logistical sense, not in a creative sense. But they seem to they know what gets them viewers, and they know how to start a show and keep one on the air successfully. Whereas with the DCEU, they're really just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and there's no real rhyme or reason to any of it. So we're gonna do Superman, and then Batman v Superman, and then we're gonna go straight into Justice League, and then we're gonna do Suicide Squad, even though we could have introduced all those characters in other projects and then brought them all in, and it would have worked better. But no, we're just gonna do Suicide Squad, and then we're gonna do Birds of Prey movie, but not with Oracle, because there's a Batgirl movie in development. So we're just gonna do Birds of Prey, but make it all about Harley Quinn and whatnot. It's just they don't know what the hell they're doing. There's no one steering the ship. At least with the Arrowverse, it's bad, but at least there's someone steering the ship. Let's see. Did you read Tower of God? No, I have not. Let's see. My favorite AOS moment was in the season when Daisy was fighting some agents in a ship because of how great the camera work was. I believe that was the season 2 finale. Yeah, that was a really good one. You should give Riverdale another go. Boy. Honestly, I watched Riverdale in the first season. I thought it was sort of an entertaining guilty pleasure type show. I didn't watch beyond that. Everything I know about it since then tells me that show has become downright absurd. I don't anticipate watching it beyond just little bits and pieces out of morbid curiosity. I don't anticipate ever reviewing it. If you want, if you're looking for entertaining Riverdale reviews, Alex Myers, I believe his name is, he does a great job with that, and I can't equal what he does. So just go check out his channel. Are there any MCU TV show characters you'd want to see in the movies? Any MCU TV show characters you'd want to see in the movies? I'd love it if Daredevil crossed over into the movies. I'd like to see some interaction between Daredevil and Black Widow would be really cool. Thoughts on Sabrina on Netflix? Man, that's a weird show. I've seen like 3 or 4 episodes. I kind of have to force myself to go back and watch it. It's interesting, but I don't know who that show is meant for, because you'd think it's made for like tweenage girls and stuff, but that show that's got some dark stuff going on there. I have no idea what kind of demographic they're going after, and it's so over the top. Like the acting is bizarre. I think right now it's very much a style over substance type of thing. It's not unlike Riverdale in that regard. It's very darkly campy. I don't know how to describe it better than that. Not really my type of show. I think it's kind of fascinating in a weird way, but I don't, not because I think it's a good show. I think it's just interesting. All right, I guess I'll answer this last one and then we'll wrap this thing up. Do you want Ghost Rider to have his own show or movie from AOS? You know, they could have given Ghost Rider his own spin-off show. With Gabriel Luna, you just give Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes, give him his own show, because I thought he was one of the best things about that season. Because I thought he had the presence and the charisma to carry his own show. I thought the character could carry his own show, and if they gave him his own spinoff, I would watch it. I don't think that's going to happen because he's the guy's an up and coming actor. I don't anticipate the new Terminator movie being very good because, frankly, the last good one was Terminator 2, and they've all been crap since then. But James Cameron is involved in this one, so maybe this will at least. I'm not going to say it could right the ship, but maybe it could. I don't know, at least stop it from sinking. But yeah, Gabriel Luna, he's playing the new Terminator. So conceivably, that could lead to him getting a lot more roles. So he might, I don't know, he might be above, a Ghost Rider spinoff. But if I don't know, if the stars aligned and they wanted to do it and they actually got it done, I'd watch it, because I thought he was great. He was a great Ghost Rider. All right, last one. Your opinion of Altered Carbon. I watched the first episode, and I felt that was also a style over substance show. I didn't find the character to be very interesting. I thought it was I thought it was the scenery, the production design, the special effects, gorgeous. I just didn't find the character interesting. So I didn't really watch beyond that. Okay, this is the last one. Thoughts on the Arrowverse adaptation of Crisis on Infinite Earths? I haven't seen it, but they're not good enough. The writers are not good enough to pull it off. I'm just going to say that right now. Flash, the writing is terrible. Supergirl, writing is terrible. Arrow, writing very hit and miss. Legends of Tomorrow, show is a freaking catastrophe. Seriously, I mean, go back and watch season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. Show is a goddamn train wreck. So I have no confidence in them pulling off Crisis on Infinite Earths. Has that even happened yet? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't watched the crossover. Honestly, I'm not watching any of the Arrowverse shows week to week right now. I haven't for a while. Like I said, I'm trying to watch less television right now, not more. I don't want to get hooked on anything again because I'm trying to limit my distractions because I really need to focus on making videos and growing this channel so I can actually do something with it. So that will be it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to try to make these live streams, if not like a regular thing, at least maybe semi-regular. Yeah, my voice is giving out. All right, so yeah, I'm going to try to make these more frequent. I don't know if I'll have a set time for it, but we'll play it by ear. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Click the link and click that bell icon to be notified. Also, follow me on Twitter. There's always a link in the description box. Clicking the bell icon doesn't always notify you about new videos. So the best way to be notified about new videos is to follow me on Twitter using the link down below. I am going to take a shower, rest my voice, and I'm going to try to get something done on this video because I've been putting it off for way too long now, and I got to get this thing done already. And once I get this one done, this is going to be another episodic review, not for Supergirl. This is going to be a new show that I haven't talked about yet. Not going to say which one it is yet, but so I guess it'll be a bit of a surprise. So that's the next video. And I guess after that is either the next Supergirl video or perhaps Captain Marvel review, depending on which one I get done first. So stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. And let me know if you want to see me talk more about the Dragon Prince in the future, because I would like to talk about that because it's a good show, and I can't just I can't limit myself to just roasting terrible shows all the time. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna check out. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you guys real soon in the next episodic review, I guess. All right, see you then. Bye.